Hello everyone, this is Taryn with Wonderfully Made Handcrafting. Today I am working in a new interleaved Bible through the Growing in Truth devotional from By the Will for God. This is the kit for April 2025 and I am in Deuteronomy 6 today. So I've kind of laid out some stuff that I want to do for this page, and so I have it all laid out here. We are in Deuteronomy 6, 4 through 9, which is the Shema prayer. And so I've written that using a little book plate and die set from Holtz. This one is called Specimen. And then I also did that fun little frame, and I'm using some ephemera pieces from the By the Will for God kit. So a lot of these are actually just the clear stickers that I've backed with some cardstock. And so I put those together before I started filming because I actually really like to set up my page beforehand so I know what I'm doing. I don't have to film so long. So I kind of know what I'm doing here besides all the little extra details. So that is why I have those already placed down and glued. The little numbers and the letters is just because those pieces are so small that I didn't want to lose them. And so that's why I put them together beforehand. So the letters and numbers also came from the Specimen Die Set. And I just, picked what letters I wanted with the words that were provided. And that's how I could get the words or letters to spell Shema. So anywho, this background paper, the NE, that is from a book, an antique book from a while, well, not a while ago. What I'm meaning, obviously, it's an antique, but I've had it in my stash for a while. And then I also have this paper on top. This is from the paper pack. I wanted it to be folded a little bit, but my brain wasn't really working on how I was wanting to fold it because I don't want to see the back side of the paper because I don't need to add any other colors to this page. I just want it to be greens and a little bit of pops of red. So I have this ledger paper in my stash, and I'm trying to figure out, with my brain not working on full speed, how to actually put this down and glue it down and cut it and everything. I get it eventually. It takes me a little bit of time, but I just put that down and then I will fold it over and then cut off the excess from there because I still want those crisp lines, especially when it comes to the corners. I also am going to staple that down in a little bit, but I'm going to work on some other things first. So I'm just going to glue it down enough for it to fold, and then we're going to roughen up these edges. I'm also going to take out this little edge spiral kind of punch. I forget what they're technically called, but I'm just going to punch down the side. Now, technically, if I were to do this, it should be all punched up in the little folded area too, but we're not worried about that. I mean, that much. So anyways, I will punch this little side out to just give a little bit more texture to this page. And then we're going to use my stapler, which conveniently ran out of staples as I was working on this page. So I'll show you how I add those in, and I will just staple that to the little folded edge. Obviously glue would hold it just fine, but I just like the texture and metal when you add staples to a page. So as I'm adding my staples to my tiny attacher, I wanted to read you the verses that I'm working through today. So this is Deuteronomy 6, 4 through 9. It says, "Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one. You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your might. And these words that I command you today shall be on your heart. You shall teach them diligently to your children, and shall talk of them when you sit in your house, and when you walk by the way, and when you lie down, and when you rise. You shall bind them as a sign on your hand, and they shall be as frontlets between your eyes. You shall write them on the doorposts of your house and on your gates." So since these verses talk about teaching our children diligently, I decided to have a look and gander through this bag that I keep in my stash of all these vintage photos that I find at thrift stores. And usually I find them for a really good price, especially in bulk. And so I had this photo that is so sweet of what I believe to be a brother and sister standing in front of their house. And there's some greenery or flowers behind them, and so it works perfectly alongside this kit. If you missed out on my unboxing, I batched a ton of dyed things, dyed as in like the Big Shot dye maker. And so I cut out a bunch of those before I even received my kit. So this little Impresslit frame from Tim Holtz is my go-to cluster piece that I like using. But I cut it out in a couple of different paper kinds. So this is obviously a gold foiled one, but I didn't like how shiny it was compared to all the other vintage elements here. And so I decided to use a little bit of sandpaper to roughen it up and add some color. So now I'm just working on this cluster, and I'm going to roughen up all of those gold foil pieces. So also on that book plate. And I will start gluing this together. There's a little piece of this photo that doesn't cover in the frame. And so I'm just covering it up with one of those clear stickers that I made my own ephemera with by placing it on some cardstock and cutting it out. I know that I don't use clear stickers that often when it comes to like ephemera kind of looking stuff. And so by making my own ephemera pieces on cardstock paper, it makes me be able to use those a lot better and just adds another element, especially little tiny pieces that I can add to my clusters. So now I am getting out some of these tiny little fasteners that I will add to this book plate that says Shema on it. And I will add that with some foam tape onto this cluster, including that number 67 right down there. That's just to give a little hint that it is chapter 6, verse 7, that talks about teaching our children diligently. So lastly, I will glue this cluster down to the page itself. Now, when it comes to this kit, I am so inspired and I'm so excited to be working in my Interludes Bible for this kit. To be completely transparent, I have absolutely loved showing you how I take my notes for Bible studies and stuff. But I have felt way off my crafty game, if we want to call it that, for the last couple months, and I just not known why. I have talked to my husband about it, talked to friends. I've just kind of felt in this rut. And I'm not sure if it's the weather or me, but this kit has me super excited to be working with all the pieces because I am a visual learner. And so having something visual to see helps remind me what I studied in my journals that I've done, my notes in other places. So I don't know. It's just exciting to see the artwork come together again and feel like I'm kind of back in the groove of that. Now, I'm hoping that it stays. I hope this was just a season I was walking through that was difficult. But I'm so glad to be here and journaling here. And so I hope you enjoyed this video as well. I will leave all my affiliates in the description below where you can see what I used for this page. And I hope you have a wonderful day, guys. Bye.